welcome back to our vlog and welcome to our channel. If you're new here, we are roaming new routes. If you've been following along with our journey so far, then welcome back. In today's vlog, we are going to do a trip recap. We're going to do the usual and run through all the financials on what we spent on the trip and give you a little bit of a breakdown in terms of holiday spend, hotels, car hire, food and drink, etc, etc. And then we're going to wrap up with a questions and answers and a trip announcement for our travel plans for the next 2 to 3 months. So we'll get started with a trip recap. All right, before we get started, I forgot to say a little cheers to everyone. Cheers. We are heading out. It's actually my birthday tomorrow, so we are heading out for a seafood brunch later on this afternoon. So we're having a couple of cheeky beers before we get going. So anyway, trip recap. Right, let me have a swig first, as I'll be talking a lot for the next 30 minutes. Overall, really enjoyable trip, as it always is in Vegas. It was a little bit of a different trip for us this time. We don't typically go this time of the year, so normally we're there kind of earliest end of March, early April, and typically we go back kind of that September, October time. So this was a little bit different for us because we were there, over February and at the start of March.
End of February, yeah.
Yeah, end of February. So it was a little bit cold. Weather was okay. The issue with that time of the year is it can be very cold on the strip, but then you get into the casinos and the hotels and it's absolutely boiling. So you're constantly having to take your jumpers off, put your jumper on. So we do prefer kind of March, April time. But that being said, like I said,
I'd say April for me, because
yeah,
then you miss all the spring break and all that, maybe.
Exactly, yeah. And it's a nice time. You can just whack on your shorts. You don't have to change in the casinos. But yeah, as I said, overall it was a really good trip. We did try a few new hotels. If you see us looking down here, we're not being rude, it's because we've got everything on a laptop in front of us because we've got quite a lot of stuff to get through and lots of questions and answers. So we stayed in some new hotels this time, Red Rock and Fontainebleau. Thoughts on Red Rock?
I really liked it. I thought it was a really nice place, but like we're going to say, we'd rather do it in the middle of a trip.
Yeah.
To break up the Vegas
to get away from the strip,
yeah,
because
bit of a break.
We went straight there from LA, and so I've got to be honest, for that start I didn't feel like I was in Vegas. For me, I like to get into Vegas, and then I think that's a perfect opportunity to get away from the strip and have a little bit of a break. That being said, hotel was really nice. We got checked in pretty quickly. We got given a room straight away. Rooms are decent. Casino's decent. We had absolute shit luck the whole time we were there. Both of us didn't win a single thing. The food and beverage options there are decent. Our meal in Echo and Rig wasn't great, and we'll come on to that later in some of our highs and lows. But it was we'd definitely go back, wouldn't we?
Well, to be honest, we were only there for one night, and we gambled on my card mainly, and I've been getting offers 3 comp nights and $75 free play.
And even I've got a comp night, and I only did a few $100s on my card.
I mean, maybe coin-in was for one night. I mean, we did gamble a lot because when you're the first day in Vegas, you're gonna.
Coin-in will still be probably $5 or $6 grand, I would have thought.
But to get them comp straight away, and they've even sent us an offer now for Durango, which I was very happy with. That was only 2 nights, but $75 free play. I mean, there's no food and beverage, but considering we're there for one night, so I'd say.
And it's a brand new hotel, so.
Even if you go for one night, I think the comps, you will get comps.
Yeah, you will.
The next trip, it's an easy place to get comps, I think.
They're certainly giving a lot more than MGM and some of the others, even Fontainebleau, which I'll move on to. That was another new hotel for us. Fontainebleau, I say it's a tale of 2 halves kind of for me. The hotel and the resort is absolutely amazing. I think a little bit, it'll be very similar to Resorts World in that I think at the weekends, especially now this time of year, April, May, not so much in the summer, but September, October, November, it'll be very busy with pool parties, DJs, nightclubs, all that stuff. But the casino, it's a good casino, but it's just lacking atmosphere. During the day, it's just full of conference people because obviously you've got the convention center right next door, so it's full of business people. They come back from the convention at like 3-4 o'clock, they have a few drinks in the bar, there's a bit of activity, a bit of noise, a bit of hustle and bustle, but then come 7-8 o'clock, once they've kind of had their dinner and started to wind down for the night and go back to their rooms, you don't really get the holiday tourists and the proper like Vegas gamblers coming into Fontainebleau in the evening. So by 10 o'clock, it's very similar to like the library in Mandalay Bay. It's quite quiet and just lacks atmosphere.
As you kept saying, more life in a morgue.
Yeah, it was, and it's a shame. And obviously, I've been back since, and it was the same even later on in the year. So look, it's a lovely. Look, we're staying there again in our next trip, which we'll come on to later. Beautiful resort, like I said, fantastic rooms. We were really, really lucky. We obviously got an upgraded room. It wasn't the standard room. It was a little bit more like a suite. But yeah, attention to detail, the maid service, everything was exceptional. Food on this trip wasn't great in Fontainebleau, but we'll move past that. So obviously in between the Vegas we went to Arizona. We typically, this is what we always do, we'll go to Vegas for 4, 5, 6 days, we'll go out of Vegas for 2, 3, 4 nights, and then we'll come back in. So this time we decided to not do any national parks, and we went down to Arizona. So we started off doing, basically we went down to Tempe in Arizona to watch Chris Stapleton in concert, which was amazing. We had an Airbnb booked for 2 nights. We had a few issues with the Airbnb. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best stay. And then we did kind of Phoenix, Scottsdale area, which I cannot recommend. If you want to get away from Vegas, it's a 3.5, 4 hour drive max if you stick to the limits. You can probably do it in 3. You've got really old historic towns. You've got a casino there. You've got good shopping. It's a really nice kind of mixture of a city vibe, but also got elements of like national park and history stuff, and then you can got Flagstaff for Route 66, Sedona as well, the national parks. So we did that for 3 days. It was a really enjoyable trip. It was, like I said, it was different to the national parks, but I would definitely go back to Phoenix and explore a little bit more of Arizona. Sedona I'd like to do on a full day trip and actually do some like hiking and walking. I probably wouldn't stay there. We mentioned it in the vlog. It's a bit hippy dippy, crystal, yeah man, kind of for us. But it was nice for a day trip.
But also we kind of picked to go there because of the weather, because obviously in February everywhere's freezing cold, like Zion and stuff. We just can't with the weather. Like we want somewhere but at least slightly warm. We don't want snow and stuff like no.
But just be careful. Parts of Arizona, even though they might only be 2 hours away, are very different in temperature, as you've seen from the vlog. So even the difference between Sedona and Flagstaff, which is literally a 45-minute journey, the temperature can differentiate between like 5 to 10 degrees. I mean, it was low. It was probably 12, 14 degrees in up to 20 degrees in Phoenix. It dropped down to about 10 to 12 in Sedona, and then Flagstaff was -2. It was cold.
Especially when you're not used to it.
I mean Flagstaff.
I've had cold weather in a long time.
Yeah, well, I mean we've just watched Simon South's vlog, and he stopped off in obviously doing his Route 66, and he stopped off in Flagstaff and said the same. It's probably, to be honest, something to do in the day. I wouldn't recommend stopping there overnight. There's not a huge amount. We were raring to go. We wanted to get back to Vegas anyway, but yeah, not great. Anything else? Recap. Yeah, well, our next point here is the high-end food was a little bit disappointing, but I think we'll come on to that in the highs and lows in our next segment, because the first trip that we did that we vlogged, we've done obviously many trips to Vegas before, we've always had really, really good food. And our first trip that we vlogged, we had really good food. This trip that we've just done, the food was really disappointing. The best meals that we had were all in the more casual places. And I've seen a lot of people kind of saying the same thing. Hell's Kitchen, a few other places, Fontainebleau, Mother Wolf. Some people are raving about it. Some people have been really, really disappointed. So I don't know if that's just something in general in Vegas that they need to improve on. We still had, don't get me wrong, we didn't have a terrible meal. And maybe I am overcritical. I have to say I've got a lot of comments from people saying they like my reviews. I am an honest person. I will judge it based on what it says on the menu in terms of the pricing. I don't care if it's comped. If it's $150, then I'm going to review it based on the fact that I would be paying $150. And while a lot of the food is okay, if I'm paying $300-400 for a meal for 2 people, and we don't drink a huge amount with our food, I would expect it to be an 8, 9, or 10. You know, coming in at a 6 or a 7, to me, that's kind of that $100-200 mark. So that was a little bit disappointing, but yeah, still overall it was an amazing trip. So highs and lows.
We kind of went through this already.
We've kind of just touched on it already, but yeah, our highs were obviously staying at the new hotels, and obviously Fontainebleau. Our lows were obviously the food that we mentioned. We did have a few small room issues at MGM, which always seems to be the case. That being said, especially at Nomad, they're very quick to kind of rectify it, and I can't remember his name now, the manager at Nomad, but he always gives us like $100. Marcel. He always gives us $100.
He's sick of the sight of you.
Yeah, he knows me by now. We're just unlucky because obviously our last trip was the hack, and then we had issues with the room and the maid. But what can you do? And then the only other low for us was obviously MGM Rewards changing the rules. Now this is something that's literally just come in place. I think 1st of May, but I say it came in. It came in when we were there on the 1st of March. Which is that you don't get the free play on your second trip if you book the same offer at the same time. So I think we were one of the first people who experienced it because we went back literally at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 1st, and he was like, oh, this is a brand new rule. Even the staff, we don't know anything about it. So I think it was implemented and then maybe scaled back over March and April, and now if you look at any of the offers, it's there. So again, just be careful. If you're not aware, if you book, let's say you're booking your trip now in May or June, and you're booking, let's say, a trip in September and a trip in December, make sure you separate the bookings and you don't book in the same month, because if you do, it doesn't matter about the 72 hours now, you're only going to get your free play once. You will get your dining credit, your food and beverage, but you won't get your free play, so just take that into account.
I'm more bothered about the food and beverage credit anyway, to be honest. Free play.
I'm not that bothered. See, I'm more interested in free play. It's weird because to me, food and beverage is $150. So if you lose $150, you've lost $150 effectively.
Yeah.
Free play, if you lose $150, that $150 could turn into $1,000 or $800.
But it never does for me, so that's probably why.
Well, maybe, maybe. But so I'd rather the free play than the food and beverage, because you're going to spend money on food and beverage anyway, so you have to have a budget for that. So anyway, talking of food, best meal. Emily, you go first.
For me, it was Bavette. I thought it was really good. I really liked the atmosphere in the restaurant. I really liked the bacon. The bacon. I mean, everyone raves about the bloody bacon.
We were like, this bacon, how good can it be?
We kept saying.
Maple bacon, like we have it in sandwiches at nearly every weekend, every morning. How good can it be? Yeah, it is nice. Pretty good.
I mean, we didn't get the cider bacon. We had it in the salad.
On the salad, yeah.
Which it's similar price. I think the salad.
It's not much difference. Yeah.
Steaks were good. I wouldn't say exceptional.
No.
But they were decent.
But when you're getting a fillet steak at these top, I mean, I always say this, when you go into a top restaurant and you're ordering a fillet steak, or, if you're having a standard kind of, prime steak, there's not going to be, in my opinion, if it's something like a fillet, it's not going to be a huge difference unless it's cooked really, really badly. You're only going to see the difference if you're going to kind of those super prime cuts and you're going for your Wagyu or your Kobe beef or something kind of ultra prime. But if you're getting a USDA prime or choice cut in any of the top steakhouses, to me, you're not going to get a huge amount of difference, especially with a fillet, because there's no fat and it's a pretty plain cut.
One thing I missed though was the dessert, the lemon meringue pie.
Yeah, Emily bangs on about lemon meringue pie. It's her favourite dessert, and we just didn't have room for it. So we'll definitely get that on our next trip, I think. Yeah. So for me, the best meal, which might surprise people, was actually the Henry, and we went there for breakfast brunch. But it was just a really nice meal. We had the beignets, which were amazing, and we weren't going to order them. We were going to order the
donuts,
the maple donut. But the beignets were lemon curd, were absolutely amazing. The service was really good. And then we had I'm trying to remember now, we had the short rib Benedict. No, short rib Benedict?
Yes, and the breakfast.
Or is it short rib hash?
It's short
rib Benedict, which is beautiful with an amazing gravy. And then we had the breakfast burrito, which again was really nice. So yeah, that might surprise people, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's a high end. I wouldn't say it's high end. It's casual, but it's still a premium casual restaurant. But that was far better than the likes of Mother Wolf, which you paid 4 times the price.
It was just a bit different, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, it was
a bit different, and we were just, I think, surprised by it. We weren't expecting.
And maybe that's where we're going wrong. Maybe we're going into these high end restaurants with high expectations, and that's why we're being disappointed. So maybe we need to kind of take that on the chin and note it for our next trip. And we're going to give a special shout out for runners up on this, and we both agreed on it, was Yardbird in the Venetian. Really, really, again, great atmosphere, really, really good food. Just a really, really nice time in there, wasn't it? So that's our kind of runner up. Worst meal. Probably not too hard to guess which we're going to go for. I'll let Emily go first.
Mine's Mother Wolf.
Shocking.
I'll tell you why. One of the main reasons is I absolutely adore Italian food, and Russell is not that pizza, pasta. He's not the biggest fan of those foods.
No, the only pasta I really like is either a mushroom and truffle or a carbonara. Carbonara is one of Emily's favourite dishes, and that's the one dish that I would normally order if I was having Italian.
So we don't really go to that many Italians that much because Russell. It's not like the big.
Well, we eat quite a lot of pizza here, but again, it's got to be that kind of Neapolitan, kind of very light, proper Italian pizza, not the heavy.
Yeah, and from the reviews, I was like, oh my god, I really can't wait. I'm so excited to go because I love carbonara, and I saw the carbonara on the menu, and I was really excited to try it. When it came, very salty.
It was just too salty, and even that, not just the food was average, but to be honest, I don't know, we might have just been lucky. The server had a real attitude problem. And I just found him really rude. So I didn't mention this in the vlog, but when we ordered a beer and we said, oh, what's the name of the Italian beer? And he was just like, oh, it's not a Peroni. It's not. And we're like, yeah, we know. Like, what's the brand? And his attitude was like, you won't know it. And it's like, well, we drink a lot of European beer. We're European. Like, we drink a lot of Italian beer. We probably will know it. And when he said the name and when it came, we were like, yeah, okay, we've seen it before. And that to me was just like. Yeah, how rude to question someone when they're asking what the beer is, to be like, oh, you won't know it. I was like, I literally felt like saying to him,
because it said on the menu, it said on the menu a selection Italian beers. So I was just like, oh, like what brand is it? Because I wanted to choose. He was like, oh,
you won't know. You won't know what brand it is. Okay. I literally felt like turning around to saying, listen, prick, you know, like, you don't know. That's not customer service. Like, you don't know who we are. You know, so I was just like. Yeah, anyway, so that started the meal off on a bad note, and then the table next to us complained, and as I said in the vlog, I remember the guy was like, is the food too salty for you? And I was like, who would think about food being too salty when someone says, I'm not happy with the food, unless there'd been multiple complaints about it. So that was a really disappointing meal. I'm just glad that was on F&B credit, otherwise I would have been really pissed if I'd paid $300 for it. And then my worst was, no shock, Echo and Rig. Again, had really high expectations. The food was okay. Elements of it were really good. Elements were really poor. But just the service to be in and out in 45 minutes, to me, you know, that's fine if you're having a casual meal. But you know, again, when you're paying $200-300 and you're having a steak dinner, I want to be enjoying I want to take my time with it and enjoy it, not get indigestion, because it's literally as soon as we put our knife and fork down for the starter, the main course was here. So that was disappointing.
Well,
and
then
the
service was good. Like the servers were nice.
The servers were nice, but they were just too efficient.
It was just too efficient.
Yeah. And then the runners up, we've got 2 or 3 of them unfortunately this trip. Again, these are all places that we were really disappointed with. Hell's Kitchen, again, average. It does get really mixed reviews, this place. It seems like some people really enjoy it, some people don't. For us, it was run of the mill. It was okay, but again, it was a 6 or 7 out of 10. Holstein's now, I believe, is closing, which doesn't surprise me. It's already been announced. It was quiet when we were there, and the burgers were just plain old average. And a special shout out to Libertine Social, who served us probably the 2 worst dishes I think we might have ever had. The bread, which was literally, I mean, I could give that to my construction workers and get them to build a tower in Dubai with that bread. It was that hard. And
well, you're doing the next one in the worst dish, so you'll come to
that. The worst one. The next one is you might already remember. All right, so best dish and worst dish. Best dish for Emily.
Sweet and sour ribs and Din Tai Fung. I love those ribs.
Classic.
I like Din Tai Fung. I just think it's a solid meal.
It is. You're guaranteed a good meal, good service. It's pretty cheap for what it is. You can get a load of different things. And I haven't, everyone goes there in all the vlogs. It's a stalwart. It's like you're guaranteed you're not going to have a bad meal.
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah, and I would say the sweet and sour ribs are up there as one of my favourite things. But I've already mentioned it. For me, my favourite dish of the whole trip was the short rib Benedict at the Henry. But we're going to do a special shout out because there are some strong contenders up there. We have to give a shout out to our old favourite Sayulitas and the Bulk Burrito, which is becoming famous on our vlogs. We're going to go there.
Russell's not got shares and.
No, I know. People keep going and saying how good it is. It's just a really good place. It's just cheap and cheerful. It's a little like shack kind of place. You've only got like 5 tables in it, but it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I love it.
Spicy pork wrap from Bang Bar in the Cosmo. What's his name? The chef.
Is it David Chang?
Yes, David Chang, absolutely banging. That and the cumin beef, as you kept calling it, is up there. But I think the spicy pork wrap does take the winner there. And again, a special mention to the sweet and spicy burger and the onion rings at Whataburger. We've seen a lot of vlogs of people going lately and just getting the plain burger. Plain burger, forget it. You've got to try the sweet and spicy burger. I'm hoping it wasn't just a special when we were there, because it comes and goes apparently. If it's on the menu, that is the one to get. Forget the fries, get the onion rings. The onion rings are literally like tempura onion rings that you would get in any top restaurant. I'm not joking about that. They are really, really good. And obviously the Dr. Pepper shake, you can't not get one of them. Worst dish. Well, worst dish, we already know what yours is.
The carbonara.
It's the carbonara.
Yeah.
For mine, it's libertine, and again, it was an inedible dish, really, and it was the steak tartare. No joke, the pieces of steak tartare must have been like 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre. Normally steak tartare is finely chopped. This was giant chunks of meat, and it wasn't even like it was like a fillet steak or a cut of fillet. It was like it was a rump steak that had been chopped up. I mean, it was chewy. It was literally like eating leather soles on a shoe. It was absolutely awful. So we ended up leaving that. So that's my worst. And then our special shout out.
We've said the bread.
I've done that. We've done. Another one we forgot was the short rib at Hell's Kitchen, which was just very, very dry and disappointing. So yeah, that was a quick recap. Well, I say quick, it's probably been 15 minutes already. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over and we're going to run through the financials. So in this, we will do everything that we spent on the trip, and we'll have a quick look at our gambling budgets, what we came back with, our profit and loss, and a quick mention on the coin-in amounts. And then after that, we'll jump back to the questions and answers from you guys. So yeah, move on to the next segment, the financials. All right, so in this section, we're going to run through the breakdown of the costs and what we spent versus our budget. We'll run into talking about our free play, our comps, and then we'll touch obviously on our P&L. Now, we're not going to break down like we did in the first vlog, a detailed profit and loss with our coin in each of the casinos, because obviously we are doing multiple trips this year. And so we will do that probably at the end of the year in a separate vlog. So as you can see on the screen here, we've broken down all of our expenses with our flights, our car hire, our hotels, fuel and gas, food and drink costs, entertainment, casino tips, shopping, any miscellaneous, and obviously the total. Now, obviously flying with Emirates, premium economy or business class from Dubai, the flight cost is a rather large chunk of the total. So although I've showed it here, I'm not including it in any of these totals because it's obviously relative to the individual people. And that way it doesn't really give a clear picture. You know, if you're watching one of these vlogs, for example, to understand how much, a week in Vegas might cost you, then this is really kind of going to skew with the totals. So although I'm showing them, I'm leaving it out. So the car hire for the trip was $906 in total. As you've seen, that gave us a luxury 7-seater SUV. We booked that through Hertz originally. I am President Circle, so we usually get a really good deal and a good car from them. The little tip I would give, and I gave this in our last vlog, is always make a booking as soon as you are planning your vacation, and then keep checking every week or 2 weeks. When we first booked this car, the total was, I think, $1,600. It then dropped to $1,300. I rebooked, then it dropped to $1,200, and then 3 or 4 weeks before we left, it dropped down to $900. So, we saved $600, nearly 50% of the total price, just by checking it on a regular basis. The hotels, we have broken this down into our Vegas aspect of the trip and our Arizona. Obviously, we did have 3 days away from Vegas. So our hotels in total, we spent $743 in Vegas and we spent $680 in Arizona. And as you can see, I forgot to mention, I have obviously done a conversion. This conversion was done, obviously, we are now in start of May. So this is the conversion as of the first week of May. It may obviously fluctuate over time. We then spent fuel and gas. We didn't do a huge amount of driving on this trip compared to what we usually do. So we actually only spent $277. We're usually up around the kind of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles or kilometers for our trips. And that's usually kind of $400, $500, $600 worth. But this time, obviously, we only spent $277. Our food and drink, again, this is obviously excluding The comps that we've had, this is only what we've paid for, was $917 in Vegas. We spent $551 in Arizona. Our entertainment, which was very, very limited, was $60. I'm actually trying to think what that entertainment even covers.
It's the link.
Ah, yes, it was the link prominent. Yes, so we booked, as we mentioned in the vlog, we booked on, I think, myvegas.com. We spent the minimum we could basically do, which was $30 each to buy the link tickets, which enabled us to get $100 off the Carrie Underwood concerts.
It was the Black Friday sale.
Yeah, it was the Black Friday sale. So yeah, we spent $60 there, and then obviously entertainment for Arizona. That was the tickets to Chris Stapleton and a few other bits and bobs that we did while we were down there. Casino tips. This is a little bit hard to track because obviously you are cashing in money, taking small bills out from Tito's and putting it into your tips, but approximately we think we spent around $675 US on tips for drinks, which is quite a lot, to be honest. $227 on shopping, and that shopping does include, Walmart's drinks, muffins, bits and bobs of beer, Lee's liquor, etc. $75 in miscellaneous costs. So our total spend for Vegas was $3,880. Our total spend in Arizona was $1,606. So free play in total, we got $630. We were expecting this to obviously be higher, but thanks to the new MGM rules, I think we were one of the first people who actually came across it, because it was the end of February. They changed it on the 29th of February, and when we went back on the 1st of March to claim our second lot of free play in food and beverage, we got the F&B credit, but they didn't give us the free play. So we only got $630 in free play in total, and that does include obviously the Konami free plays that we used from the My Vegas app as well. F&B credit, this was higher than expected. We got $1,425. I think we originally had around $1,000 as expected F&B comps, but obviously because we had a couple of issues with the rooms, they kept giving us $100 here and there, so that jumped up to $1,400. Our room comps, this is what our rooms would have cost if we were paying for them, was $2,420. Me and Emily get 4 nights comp with MGM pretty much every time we book. We didn't get anything we paid for our Fontainebleau, so I think it was just the MGM comps this covers.
Venetian we got comped in the end.
And Venetian we got comped in the end, yeah. So that's the MGM stay and the 1 night in the Venetian. So in total, with the free play, the F&B and the room comps, we effectively saved $4,475. So, onto our gambling budgets. Me and Emily take the same amount each trip. We take $400 per day. We had 11 days in total, full days in Vegas gambling. So, budgets for both of us were $4,400. I returned with a very, very respectable $3,320, meaning that my total loss for 11 days was only $1,080. We're talking less than $100 a day gambling budget. So I am incredibly happy with that. Emily's gambling, not so good. She gets a little bit more risky than me, and when she's had a few drinks, she gets a bit carefree. So her budget was $4,400. She returned only with $1,900. So hers was a loss of $2,500. But you know what? I think Emily would agree. If you bring anything back, that $1,900 now covers 60 to 70% of the gambling we'll have on our next trip. So I think that's a win in both of our books, really. So the total loss, as you can see down here, is $7,460. And this, basically, the way that I calculated this, is not so much a loss, it's basically a cost. It is the $3,880 spent on the holiday, hotels, car, food and drink, etc., plus the 2 losses of $1,800 and $2,500. That brings the total holiday cost to $7,460. This figure here, $11,935, is what the hotel and the trip would have cost us had we not had these comps here. And so the holiday total, $5,486, is effectively this figure here, our Vegas trip and our Arizona trip. And I had a personal budget that when I've kind of done my planning, that we would spend approximately $5,286, and so we were only $200 over our budget, which, you know, in total the holiday was what, 16 days, 17 days? I think to be $200 over budget is absolutely incredible. And so, as I mentioned, the final part of the breakdown is the coin-in. Now, we've only done MGM for this, so we obviously stayed at a lot of different resorts. So my coin-in MGM Properties was $9,655, which is, I actually think it's quite low. I'm surprised by that figure. Emily's coin-in, we did use Emily's card quite a lot towards the end of the trip. Hers was $15,100. So our total coin-in between the two of us, just in MGM alone, is just under $25,000, so $24,755. And as I mentioned, that doesn't include Red Rock, where we did a lot of gambling in Red Rock. We did a lot of gambling in Cosmo. We did a decent amount in Venetian, and we certainly put quite a hefty amount through Fontainebleau. I would probably expect our total coin-in for the trip to be 40,000.
Probably, yeah.
40, around that 40,000 mark. But as I said, what we will do is at the end of the year, we will combine all the trips, all the P&Ls, and we'll break it down through MGM, because hopefully by then Cosmo will have merged and we'll be able to access the Cosmo win-loss statements, and we'll be able to get Fontainebleau. We haven't included Resorts World on here either. We did gambling at Resorts World as well.
Yeah, we didn't stay there though.
We didn't stay there, but we did do some gambling there. So yeah, at the end of the year, we'll do a separate vlog on our total yearly spend in Vegas and our annual P&L. All right, on to the next segment. All right, so it's questions and answers time. So we did mention on our social medias to drop us a question if there's anything you'd like to know about us or any questions about the trip. We did get a lot of responses, and we have had some questions over the last 3 or 4 months. So I've tried to cover as many as possible. I haven't written out, I've got all of them down here on my laptop. I've not done them word for word. Excuse me. Wow, Hogarden's repeating on me. So I'll try and cover, hopefully we'll cover everyone's question off. If I have missed any of your questions off, then I do apologise. We were getting them from YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all over. So I'll start off with the one question that we get asked a lot. Don't know why, it's not fascinating at all, but we've had this question from probably 8, 9, 10 different people, and that is, what do we do for a living, especially Russell, especially me. So
trying to get your own name right.
Well, yeah, Emily, as I mentioned in the vlog, Emily works in the aviation industry. I think I've mentioned a couple of times that I work in real estate. So I'm currently the Group Chief Operating Officer for a very large local family, and I oversee all their operations for, it's mainly real estate. They have a construction company, they have a property development company, facilities management, professional services, MEPs, fit outs, all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been working in real estate for, well, ever since I was 18, effectively. So yeah, that's what I do. Nothing super fancy. But yeah, there you go. Question. This is from Amy from Where's Bean Bean? Will we be eating again at Fontainebleau? So when this question first came through, I would have said the answer would be not in the fine dining restaurant, only in the food court. But since then, we have booked our next trip, and we have got a decent offer from them. So we are going back. So yes, we will. And I would say, certainly we would eat again in the food court. We are going to try one of the restaurants in Fontainebleau, which is not the fine dining, but it's not one of the casuals, it's kind of an in-between. I won't give you too much information because I don't want to ruin the vlog. But yes, we will eat there again, but I certainly wouldn't rush back to any of the restaurants. And I'm saying that now, and I'll explain why, is because now that I'm recording this, I've already been back to Vegas on a solo trip, and I stayed at Fontainebleau again for 3 days. So I've eaten in all of the different places there. So I'm basing my answer on this last trip and the one that I've just done myself. So yeah, wouldn't rush back, but with F&B, why not? Which hotel again, this is from Amy, which hotel are we most looking forward to staying at on our next trip? Well, we've already kind of hinted on it before. Emily, I'll let you answer this one.
Durango,
yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I would say of all the hotels we're staying at, this is probably, even looking back over Fontainebleau and all the other ones, I'm really looking forward to this. I haven't seen anyone have a bad word about it.
Yeah.
The rooms look really, really nice.
They do.
It's got really good selection of restaurants, sports bar, nice restaurants, food court. It's only a small casino and stuff, but yeah, we're really looking forward to staying there on our next trip. And then this question is from Zan from Tipsy Tofu Travels, and it's a foodie question, and it's from all the places you've been, what is your perfect, it's a good question this, what is your perfect meal with starter, main course, dessert, alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink? So I'll let Emily start with hers first.
So for starter, I'd go for the bacon salad and bavette,
Or
I couldn't decide, the beef carpaccio and herbs and rye.
Strong, both of them very, very strong
The
starters.
herbs and rye from the last trip was...
Did we vlog that?
Yeah, we
Yes,
did.
we did
We were
vlog it.
flying in
Yeah, we
Austin.
did. Yes,
yeah, we did. It was very, very good. My main, somewhere we haven't vlogged, but every time I'm like, Russell, can we please book? Can we please book? And for some reason it gets
Well, we just keep
cancelled.
getting F&B credit that we can't use throughout the week, so we never find time to go there.
Is Lotus of Siam.
Flamingo branch,
location.
Flamingo location, specifically because it's the best one.
There is one in Red Rock that's just open, but it's
And I
not...
think there is another one, or did they close out? The original one.
Yeah, but the one in Red Rock doesn't get good reviews.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't tried it, but the one on Flamingo
Flamingo.
is exceptional Thai food.
Yeah.
And when I say exceptional Thai food, I used to live in Bangkok.
She knows what she's talking
And my
about.
mum and dad and brother still live in Bangkok.
Like for
so-
20 years, so she knows her Thai food.
Yeah,
And we
and-
said all of them, didn't we? It doesn't matter which curry, like the green curry, the
Yeah,
red curry,
the
the
Thai-
yellow
anything
curry,
with Thai
any of them.
curries.
Amazing.
All the food is very, very good.
Yeah.
Recommended. Dessert, right, this is a funny one because I love dessert. Russell is a savoury person. Now,
I'm a starter and main.
so he orders a shitload of food, and then when he gets to dessert, I'm like, I'm too full, and he won't share with me. So he's like, if you order that, you're eating it on your own. So I'm like, okay, I won't order.
I just don't have a sweet tooth. I think I mentioned this, like we went to Ghirardelli's and had ice cream, and that was like the first dessert I've had.
He doesn't. So we don't really eat that many desserts in Vegas, but I've got to say, Hell's Kitchen got a lot of negative things to say, but the sticky toffee pudding was actually really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it
Really
was.
enjoyed that. But I love sticky toffee pudding, to be fair. Alcohol. Now this is a funny one because again, I only really drink beer. Like I just drink beer basically. Even at home, that's all I drink. But I do like a frozen pina colada from Fat Tuesdays. I really
Or any
like that.
frozen pina colada.
Yeah, any frozen pina
But
colada.
it's got to be frozen and blended.
Yeah.
If it's just pina colada with ice cubes, then no. If
No.
it's frozen and blended, which typically you get in the US everywhere,
One good thing about the US is the fruit, like
Yeah,
you
they
ask
do it
for
properly.
it here, they look at you as if you're.
they shake it with ice cubes and serve it you, and it's basically just pineapple juice and rum.
Well,
It's
like,
it's
no,
not
put it
pina
in the
colada.
blender.
Blended,
Yeah. And then non-alcoholic is strawberry lemonade acai from Starbucks.
Which costs more than a large Fat Tuesdays. It's like $15 for a, I think she's mad for a strawberry, and it's literally just strawberry lemonade, but she loves it.
I like that, yeah.
So for me, I was racking my brains over the starter, and I struggled. Not that I couldn't find
Yeah.
a starter that kind of jumped out. There's quite a few, but I tried something which isn't technically a starter, but it's a very, very small dish. And if I was to pick my ideal meal, I would have this as my starter. And it was the prawn Mary Rose or Mary Rose sandwich at Luke's Lobster. I love a prawn sandwich, and the two best prawn sandwiches I've ever had is that one at Luke's Lobster, and for the UK guys, if you like prawn sandwiches, you'll know, is the Marks and Spencer's best ever prawn sandwich. Beautiful North Atlantic prawns, Mary Rose sauce, lettuce, and it was just the same, and we can't get them like that here in Dubai. So to get that over there, it was just absolutely beautiful. I love a prawn sandwich. I could eat prawn sandwiches all day, every day. And
Yeah.
any time we're a United fan from Cheshire, the prawn sandwich brigade, as we get called. So my main, we're hearing rumours, I don't know if it's true, that this might be closing. We're hoping it's not accurate, but my favourite main course would be the Chateaubriand from Jose Andreas Meat Bazaar in Sahara Hotel. Yeah, saw a couple of comments on Facebook that it might be closing. So I'm hoping that's not true, because that was absolutely exceptional.
Like we say, this is before we were vlogging.
Yeah, we
but
didn't film this. Was
it
like
was-
3-4 years ago that we went.
We went for a special
Anniversary.
occasion.
I would say a great place to go for an anniversary. All the food was great, service was brilliant.
Yeah.
They looked after us really well.
We had free glasses of champagne.
Free desserts. They just kept giving us stuff. It was an amazing meal. Dessert. Well, I've only had one dessert in Vegas, and it wasn't my dessert. It was Emily's, and I just had a spoonful, and that was sticky toffee pudding at Hell's Kitchen. So didn't really have much to choose from. Favorite alcohol. Now I'm going to answer this later because one of the questions that has been asked by Steve is a top 5 beer review. So I'm going to come on to that because my favourite beer is going to be mentioned in that review. And my favourite non-alcoholic, which can also be converted to an alcoholic, which you'll see in my solo vlog, is the Dr. Pepper Shake from Whataburger. And I will say, it's good on its own. Pop a bit of rum or vodka in it, it's even better. Trust me on this one. So yes, that was from Zan at Tipsy Tofu Travel, so thanks for the question. Alright, this came from Colin and Jenny from DJ Jenny and Me, another vlogger. Dubai is so exotic to most of us and the offerings seem to be parallel or even exceed what's offered in Vegas. Would you ever consider vlogging at home or do restaurants or activities while we're over there? So if you follow me on social media, you will have seen I kind of put out there some feelers about doing some stuff here. I'm really enjoying, not so much I'm enjoying making the content, but I'm really enjoying editing the content, and I'll come on to that in another question and answer in a minute. So we have thought about it. We did think about doing some staycations because we are a travel channel, so we're not going to be daily vloggers. We're not going to vlog our life daily. We're not interested in that, to be honest. We do this so that our family can see what we get up to when we go away. So we're always going to cover any vacations that we take. But Dubai is a travel destination, so I did think, well, it would be quite good to do it and show some people, because we have had, this question has been asked to us over the last 6 months since we started multiple times by people in person, and obviously through social media and comments. The issue that we have here is that the UAE isn't a great place to film because it obviously is an Islamic country. There are obviously different cultures here, and there's like 186 different nationalities here, so you have to be very mindful. It's very multicultural, and obviously, certainly with the local population here, you cannot film someone without their legal permission. And if you're filming and there are local Emiratis, high-powered people, billionaires, whatever, which you can walk into and see a lot here, they can cause a few issues for you. So it's very difficult. It'll be very difficult for us to go, for example, to go to Dubai Mall and do a full vlog on Dubai Mall without getting people in the video. And then you may have someone say, look, I don't want to be filmed, and why are you filming me? And it is a criminal offence to film someone without their permission. So that's why typically you won't see a huge amount of vlogs in Dubai, because got to be quite sensitive and smart how you do it.
There is vlogs, but there has been some things in the media about people being in trouble. There's been a case recently.
Like, people have literally gone up and filmed up people to a local, and especially to the females, the women, it's something you just can't do. Obviously, there are very strict kind of cultural rules about that and what can be seen. So yeah, it's just probably something that we might consider, but it would have to be the right thing, like a staycation that's quiet and we can film us without necessarily getting anyone else in.
Also, the laws around being negative about places, like defamation.
Yeah, so you can, defamation is a big thing here.
It's actually against the law to do that.
You can't name and shame anyone, even if there's something negative and you publicly post about it. So there are things that we have to be sensitive about. I've always said that I will always be honest. I can't bite my tongue. That's one of the reasons Emily's here. I'll get onto that. She does that kind of for me. So yeah, I don't feel like I would be able to give you my genuine opinion of things without potentially someone seeing it and making a complaint and me getting in trouble. So that's the reason that we're probably not gonna do it.
That's why celebrities like Dubai, there's no paparazzi or anything like that.
That's why people come here, because you can have a private life.
Yeah. That's why celebrities have got houses here. It's against the law to be papping people on the street. So if you ever see a picture of a celebrity in Dubai, they've paid for themselves, the photos themselves. It's not.
So yeah, thank you for that, Colin and Jenny. Next one came from I'm Zeus3685. When one of you runs out of money for the day, do you ever share with each other? Did you share with me? No. When that question first came through, I burst out laughing, and I was like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, so no, we go with our own separate budgets, and we sometimes gamble together. But I mean, I think if I was to say, if anybody was to ask me and say I've run out of money, can you give me loan me $100 until we go back to the room? Then yeah, we would do.
Notice the word loan as if, oh no, you wouldn't just give me $100. He'd be knocking on my door saying, "Where's my $100?"
No,
Anyone who knows Russell, no.
Yeah. I don't give anything away for free.
This is why I have my own gambling budget with my own money, because if I want to go do $10 bets on a Wheel of Fortune, I can't. And he's doing his 60-cent bets on whatever he plays. Because I want to go and do my own.
I do more than 60-cent bets. I just don't win on anything bigger, so it just looks like I'm only doing 60-cent bets. But that's because I never win on the big bets.
Yeah, I need to film more of my bonuses. We said that.
We're gonna do more. We'll film. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get some wins on the big bets this time. But no, I put here, I'm just reading my comment. I've literally put here, I've typed down, no, Emily would make me withdraw money and make me pay the $20 in ATM fees rather than give me some of her money, and that's probably pretty spot on. This next one came in from James Benson. You've clearly done a lot of travelling even before you started vlogging. What's the best trip you've ever done? I'll start off with this one. It's a hard one because we have obviously done a lot of travelling, obviously with Emily's job and mine and just with our families, us as a couple and before that. For me, the best trip, and I think we'd probably agree on this one, was our best trip together was the one that we did in 2021, just as COVID lockdown was scrapped in the US. Yeah. And we both had leave because we couldn't take our leave obviously for the last 2 years. We had an abundance of leave, and so we both left and we did a month-long trip around the south of the USA. So we flew into Florida, into Orlando. We did like a few days in Orlando, and then we went off because we're big Disney. Well, I say we're. She's a big Disney nut. And before we started vlogging, most of our trips were still road trips, but we'd always start in Orlando. And we haven't really done anything on that, but yeah, so we did like 5 days in Orlando, and then we went off. So we drove all the way up through North Florida, through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, all that, across to Tennessee. We did Nashville, Lynchburg. We went across to Memphis. Dollywood we stayed at the Big Bass Pro Shop in Memphis, and then we kind of snaked our way down the Mississippi, and we did New Orleans across, and then back across to Orlando. So that was that was a month-long road trip. I wish so bad that we'd vlogged it back then, because we look back at the pictures every few months and we always talk about it. It was honestly, it was a life-changing trip. So that's the best trip that we've done together. For me, one of the most memorable trips I've ever done was a 6-week trip around South Africa and doing a safari in Sabi Sabi in Kruger National Park, because I have so many stories and just a beautiful place. It's got its issues with its trouble and its crime, but amazing food, amazing people, and some of the most amazing scenery. And then a best city break I've probably ever done is Montenegro, which might surprise some people. I stayed at Porto, Montenegro. It was actually a business trip that was basically effectively turned into a 3-day, 4-day holiday, and it was just unbelievable. It's the most beautiful place I think I've ever seen. Very similar to Norway. Huge fjords, mountains and lakes, just breathtaking. For Emily, your favourite trip? I probably should have mentioned this first.
We got married in Orlando. We went on a 3-week trip, and we had all our friends and family came for a week.
2 weeks. Well, between a week to 2 weeks, yeah.
We hired a massive villa
in Reunion, which is our favourite resort.
It was really good. And then we went to Mexico after for a honeymoon.
For a week, all inclusive.
For a week in Cancun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the wedding is the most important thing, but I was just focusing on the trip and the travel.
No, but it was an amazing holiday.
Oh, we'll always remember. I mean, we'll never forget that. It was just, because, and we mentioned this is why one of the reasons why we do the vlog. So that's the only time in, how long have we been together? See, even she doesn't know straight off the bat.
It's going to be 10 years.
10 years?
Soon.
Our families, and I'm talking direct family. I don't have a big family. I have no cousins, uncles or anything. I've lost all my grandparents as well now, so I literally just have mum, dad, brother, and my nieces and my brother's family, and you're the same. You just have mum, dad, brother and stuff, and a few relatives. So we have very small families. And so that was the only time in 10 years that both of our families, because my family's in the UK, obviously Emily's is in Bangkok and we're here, it's the only time our families got together. And yeah, you know,
all together.
All together. We don't know if we're ever going to get that chance again, to be completely honest. So that's one of the reasons we do these vlogs, is so that everyone can see us. So that was really special, not just because of getting married and because Orlando is one of our favourite places, but just to have all of our family together. Yeah, thanks for that, James. Next question is from it's from Steve, and that was he asked me what was my favourite beer in the USA and asked if I could do a top 5 list. So here we go. And yeah, don't worry, Steve, I will not let you down. I'll start with number 5. So number 5 for me, and the problem here is, by the time I start drinking these IPAs, I've already had, and so most of them are IPAs and beers, I've already had quite a few, and I quite often take them out when I'm already like half drunk, and then I can't even remember which ones I've had. But I'm gonna, hopefully this is pretty accurate. Number 5, I'm going for Voodoo Ranger Tropic Force, strong as well, I think that's about a 9.2. Number 4, I hate to say this because I am a United fan and I hate City and anything associated with City, even though I live in the UAE and they're owned by Abu Dhabi, is Blue Moon. Yeah, Blue Moon beer, very, very nice. Number 3, had this in Phoenix and I've had it a few times before, really, really nice beer, is Mammoth Brewery, which I think Mammoth Brewery, if I remember, Mammoth Brewery is up in where we went, the ski resort. Mammoth Lakes. Yeah, so it's Mammoth Lakes, and that's the cherry sour beer from Mammoth Brewery. Number 2 is my everyday drinking beer in Vegas, not 805, but Mango Cart. And then my number 1, which is nearly impossible to get anywhere in the US for some reason, I don't know why, because loads of people in the groups are talking about it. You can only get it at Lazy Dog in Vegas, and we'll be going back there to play Pop Stroke and get some on our next trip, and that's Huckleberry Haze. Absolutely beautiful beer. So yeah, that's my top 5 beers. Next question from Stevie Not So Wonder. Would you ever consider moving to the US or back home? Good question. It's a difficult one to answer. Would I move to the US? Yes, I would. I've always said, haven't I? I've always said since we met that the US is the one place I would see myself retiring, whether it be Florida, Orlando, or somewhere else.
With the health insurance.
But yeah, health insurance and 2 weeks holiday is a bit shit. And I've heard, I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that you only get 2 weeks holiday if you work in corporate roles. And obviously we're used to kind of 4 to 5 week holidays plus lots of bank holidays. So I would if I got offered the right job there, but obviously getting the green card and actually getting across there is extremely expensive. I think it costs about $1 million. Someone said to me it's like $1 million or something.
Well, my friend
to sponsor and to bring people over for a role, it costs a company, so something mad like that. Maybe not $1 million, maybe $100,000 or something.
A friend of ours has just moved to the US, and they've had a bit of a nightmare with it and getting the green card, and you know, it's.
So if I could, yes, I would retire there, definitely. Would we move back to the UK? Yeah, it depends on the role. Obviously, we miss family and friends, but the opportunities here that we face in the Middle East are just amazing. There's parts of the UK I miss all the time, like the greenery, even just sometimes the weather and the seasons. But then there's parts of the UK I don't miss, to be completely honest. I think we're a lot happier here.
Well, no,
it has its own problems here, but
I think it's important to mention that actually me and Russell met in Dubai. Like we didn't know each other in the UK. Like I moved to Dubai.
Even though we live very close to each other,
Yeah,
our families are from like 30-minute drive away from each other, 40 minutes.
Yeah. But so I moved to Dubai and I met Russell pretty much in the first few months I moved here, and then we've just settled here, and we don't know life in the UK together, so it's quite hard to imagine us both back there together.
Yeah, to be honest, I left the UK when I was in my early 20s, so I mean, I've now been here for over a third of my life, so you know, it's very difficult. And the thing is, people always say the hardest thing is taking the first step and becoming like an expat and leaving your home country.
Yeah.
But once you've done it, if you enjoy it, it opens your eyes. And I've always said this, you know, I will always go where there's an opportunity where I can provide the best life for my family. So if I was to be offered, you know, I've had offers recently from companies in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, all over the place. If it was the right role for me, I would consider obviously taking it and moving. You obviously have to balance the work and the lifestyle and the life that you have. But yeah, once you've done it, you'd be open to moving to Australia, New Zealand. Well, maybe not New Zealand because I'd never paid a car fine there, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed back in. But yeah, we could go anywhere.
But in short, we're following the money. We're still young.
Well, we're not following the money. We're focused on our
children. It's just me and you. So
I'm focused on my career at the moment and getting to a nice place so that we can retire early and do all the travelling and stuff that we want to do. We'll see. Next question is from Adi, and it is it difficult to synchronise Lee with Emily's work schedules? Yes, it drives me nuts. And it's not her fault, it's just the way that industry is out here. For her, anyone in aviation will know that bank holidays, for example, and the key holiday periods, Christmas, Easter, summer holidays, are the busiest time of the year. So it's the hardest for her to get off. And unfortunately, the way her company does it, their system is not the most efficient, so it can be frustrating. I can just book off 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever I want. I just submit the dates to my boss, and it's either approved or denied. For her, it's a little bit different. It can be frustrating, and that's typically why a lot of our trips, you'll see us add on a day or two, or lots of things will be last minute, because we won't know what you're doing until that month, and then we have to kind of make changes and stuff. It can be frustrating, but we always make it work. And now we've got a couple of questions from Christian Phelps, who says, I've been vlogging for 6 years now. He says his vlogging always kind of starts off slow and the phone is in his pocket more, and then it starts to come out as the trip goes on and he finds more things to include in the vlog, and was asking if we kind of had that similar situation. And I would actually say no, for us it's actually probably the opposite. So I think when we decided to vlog, and it's more, and I'll be very honest, this vlog is more my thing. It's why in all these conversations, I kind of lead it a little bit more. Emily's kind of more in the background. You don't like to be too much in front of the camera, which is why in the normal vlog. And I'll address it now. She has resting bitch face as we laugh about it here.
When he started the vlog, I said to him, look, you're the star, I'm in the background. Like, I'm an extra, you know what I mean? In a movie, I'm the extra, you're the star of the show, I'm the extra in the background. It's not really my thing. I'm not a photogenic person, I hate being on camera. It's just not really...
I think you're settling into it a lot more, especially when she's had a few drinks. Like, we've had a few really nice comments from people that said it's great to see Emily more. We've had a few negative comments, which we know you're always going to get. But, people saying, oh, I talk a lot and it's always me, but that's because that's the way it's been structured. So it is a couple's vlog, but it's like 90% me. And as Emily said, that's by choice, that she wants to be less in it and more in the background. But yeah, we find that at the start of the trip, we kind of said, didn't we, that for me it's going to be all or nothing. And it's very easy for me. I did drama, theatre studies at school, so I'm kind of used to this, and that's probably why I've kind of taken to it very naturally. And I thought I'd really struggle. When I first started, I did kind of find it quite awkward walking around. Now I don't care. But we kind of said we'll film everything. Again, we're not doing it for other people. If other people enjoy it, that's great. But we were doing it more to show, initially we're doing it more to show our family what we get up to. So we just started filming everything. And actually, for us, it's the other way around. On these longer trips that we do, kind of 14 to 18 day trips, we actually find that after day 10, 12, I actually start to get the camera out less, and I have to kind of force myself to do it, because I feel like, not that I'm tired of doing it, but you do it so much that sometimes I'm actually like, I want to enjoy the vacation, not just so. My vacation is through the camera lens. And that's why I forget a lot of stuff that's happened at Vegas, because when I'm filming, I'm actually watching what's happening on the screen, not in real life. And so it's like it's not really happening. So it doesn't get registered in my memory. It kind of goes in and goes straight back out. And that's why sometimes I'll say to my Emily's like, we've literally just played that game. Like, oh, I can't remember, because I'm focused on the content and what I'm doing and what I'm saying rather than what's going on. So no, we probably have the other issue that as we go on, we get the camera out less and less.
We have the other issue is we have too much content. Like, we have too much. Like, sometimes we'll open
and maybe it's boring.
Say, oh, we didn't really vlog much that day, and we open it with like
200 videos and it's 2 hours long, and we edit it down.
Russell, like, how have we filmed this much? Like, why are our vlogs so long?
I'm always conscious that a lot of the stuff we do is too boring, and because that's the thing, we're not a Vegas channel, so to speak. We do a lot of Vegas because it just so happens that in the last 2 to 3 years we've done a lot of Vegas trips, but before that we were doing trips all over the US, and moving forward we'll do a lot more trips that aren't necessarily Vegas. We'll always include Vegas, but we might do one Vegas trip and one Orlando trip or whatever. and we'll throw in little small trips away. So yeah, that was obviously from Christian. There's 3 questions I think from Christian. Where are we? Next one is he's mentioning that he's brought a new camera to vlog and not use the phone, and vlogging and editing has become part of his job, and he loves learning about editing. Will this lead into my job? So as I kind of said, it's not a full-time job for us. I will say that I prefer the editing. So I do most of the stuff. So I do the filming, I do the editing, and I manage the social media account. Like Emily said, she's the back office, and she's the police. She's the critique, and she's the censor police. So I have a tendency that my mouth can kind of sometimes run away with me, especially if I've had a drink. So Emily's she kind of reins me in, and she's like, Russell, the vlogs, you're talking too much, like, what are you talking about this crap for, and focus on this and do that. So she's more like the director. But I prefer the editing. I found that the editing has become my way of relaxing. You know, I do have a stressful job, and when I come back, it's my way of escaping and just kind of getting my head into the vlogs and editing for 2 hours, calms me down, relaxes me. So I've really, really enjoyed that side, and that's why I actually want to do more content. It's not to push more followers. If followers come, subscribers, that's great, but it's to have more stuff to edit. Because actually I really, really enjoy it. That's my artistic side of why I like doing like interior design and stuff. That's my kind of outlet for my artistic side. So yeah, we'll see.
So basically, my job is to say, you can't say that, Russell.
Yeah, she's the PC brigade, because if you've watched Simon South, like, he gets away with it the way he is. But that's how kind of I am, and maybe some people would say, "Oh, don't change who you are." But I'm conscious, you know, obviously the world is changing, yeah. You know, I don't want to call anyone a snowflake, but you can't say that without offending someone. So, you know, we try and be, you see what I am like, you see the honesty, and the way we are. We don't shy away from getting drunk on camera and having a laugh, and our relationship is that we take the piss out of each other constantly. You don't see a lot of that on the vlog. So on the vlog, you'll see me give it to Emily quite a lot, but trust me, she gives it back when she's not on camera. So yeah. Next question was from Carol XC7XR, and I've run out of drink. I need to get another one. Do you like to top up?
Yeah, go on then.
We've got our second beers on ice here. So the next question was, how many times do we make the long haul trip per year to Vegas? So typically 2 to 3 times a year. We'll always go at least twice. Just depends on bank holiday. So this year, I was just saying yesterday to Emily, you know, in 7 months, we'll have done 3 trips to the US, 3 trips to Vegas, a trip to the UK, a trip to Cyprus, and you've done a trip to Croatia. So it varies. We haven't vlogged all of them. She obviously only didn't vlog her Croatia trip. But it varies based on bank holidays. This year, our bank holidays have fallen really well. So I've had like a full week off where we wouldn't normally get there. You get 3 or 4 days off. So it varies, but it will always be 2 to 3 times a year minimum. And Simon, I think this might be one of the last questions actually, yeah it is. Simon31 Leeds has asked a couple of questions. Which phone do we use? So we use an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Emily's got the iPhone 14, which I sometimes use. I probably will upgrade to the 15. I was kind of waiting to see whether I should wait for the 16. I want to see a kind of a big jump in terms of the camera before I next upgrade to my phone. But yeah, we just use the iPhone 13 Plus Max. And one thing that we do, which I'll mention to any of you interested in vlogging, is you do need a lot of memory, but we put it on the highest definition, so it's 60 frames a second, and I think it's 1080 HP it's called. So it does take a lot of memory. It will fill up. If you've only got like 250, 300 gigabytes, it will fill it up on a 10-day trip. But obviously you do then get the higher quality. And there was another question again from Simon. Other than my Vegas, how can you maximize money in Vegas? I'll run through 4 things quickly, and then I'll let Emily add her kind of thoughts on it, because she's very good at this. I'm quite savvy with money as well. I like a deal, and especially right now, the one thing I would say is tier and offer match as much as possible. So right now, take advantage, because of the new hotels coming in, everyone's tier matching. So we got up to Pearl, we tier matched with Pearl to Fontainebleau, we got the credit with Fontainebleau, then I went to Win on my solo trip, and then now I'm I think platinum with Win. So there's opportunities. You've got Rio, the new hotel, Fontainebleau are offer matching, Rio are offer matching, Resorts World are offer matching. So get your offers up, wait until you get your best offers, and then offer match and get the most bang for your buck.
Get emailing. And don't, they said no to us at first at Fontainebleau.
Yeah, push back a little bit.
Resorts World.
They said no, we got a contact from someone on Facebook in one of the groups who gave us an individual person's name. We contacted him and he sorted it out straight away. Charge everything back to your room. I see a lot of people paying cash and stuff. Charge it back to your room because you get points on everything you spend, and actually you get more points for your food and beverage than you do for your gambling. And the big one I would say is ask. Speak to people, ask for comps. So don't complain to get free stuff, but what I mean is at the end of your trip, go and ask. Before you check out, go to your MGM Rewards or whoever it is, your rewards desk, and say, is there anything you can do with my hotel bill based on my spending? We went to the Venetian for one night. We didn't gamble a huge amount. We went to the guy, said, is there anything you can do? He said, yeah, I've removed everything from the bill. If you don't ask, you don't get. Literally, those people get asked hundreds of times a day. Emily's a bit like this, and I mentioned it in the vlog, I think in Fontainebleau lifts, that she feels a bit awkward doing it, so it's always me that goes up. But what's the worst they're gonna do? They're just gonna say no. And then literally, as soon as you walk away, they're gonna go, next, and speak to the next person. They don't give a shit, trust me. So don't feel bad or embarrassed about going up and asking them. They don't care, trust me. That's part of their job. Now the other tip I'd have, depending on how many times you're going, another way to save money is the Las Vegas Advisor, which is a little book that you pay for and you get loads of different deals in. But other than that, just scout around. There are some really good deals on the strip, and especially downtown as well. You can get bang for your buck. You've just got to be aware and savvy. Don't buy drinks from the shops in the casinos. Get to Walmart, even if you hire a car for a few hours. Get off strip. You'll find loads of great places. The food on Vegas in the strip is overpriced in my opinion. Go off strip. All the best meals we've had: Herbs and Rye, Lotus of Siam, all these places, all off strip.
Yeah.
What's that burger joint that we love? Fuck you burger. Not fuck you. Fuku burger. F-U-K-U burger.
This is the thing.
Great burger. So off strip, amazing places. But if you stick to the strip, you are obviously going to pay a premium. So if you want to get real bang for your money, get off the strip. Anything to add?
No, mine's about the...
No. So the final question, which Emily will answer, because I'm useless for this stuff, is Simon also asked about staying and using the My Vegas, but I know nothing about that, so I didn't actually put the question, but he was basically asking about merging bookings.
Yeah, so My Vegas, you can buy a night comped. He said he hasn't been to Vegas before, right? It's his first trip. So yeah, if you play My Vegas, you can buy a comp night, which I think they are actually cutting down on because they've removed Bellagio now, apparently. Yeah,
well, My Vegas are clamping down everything. So we've seen a lot of people say that a lot of the free restaurant deals that we're on are now premiums. So they seem to be moving, which I think is a mistake because everyone keeps saying it's the value is getting less and less with My Vegas, but. So
if you say I bought a night at Bellagio or My Vegas, and then Russell bought a night on Bellagio at My Vegas, you could go to the check-in and ask them to combine the booking, and you've got 2 nights. They do that, no problem.
Yeah, and it's worth to note that if so the way that we do it, even not on the My Vegas with our normal stays, is me and Emily always keep our own. For the major casinos like MGM, we keep separate accounts. Yeah. So in Red Rock we use one card. In some of the smaller Fontainebleaus we'll use one card. But in some of the bigger ones we keep our own accounts and we do the same thing. So we play on our own accounts and then we'll book 3 or 4 nights. For me, so let's say we're doing a 5-night trip, we won't book the full 4 nights. Emily will book 2 nights first and I'll book 2 or 3 nights. And then we'll go back and Emily will book another 2 nights or 3 nights on the next trip to maximise the comps. Because you used to be able to do that really easily, you just need the 72 hours. Obviously now, you need to be a bit more careful because like I said before, you need to separate the bookings so that you're booking in a different month.
Yeah, also if it's your first trip, I think a lot of Brits and stuff, they book through like Virgin Holidays or BA, like they do like a package deal.
If you don't book direct, you won't get...
But you need to book directly with MGM or Caesar, whoever, because otherwise they can't do anything with your bill.
No, so for example, if you go with, let's say you go with Virgin Holidays from the UK and you book a package deal, flights and hotel, no matter how much you gamble, they won't be able to do anything with your hotel bill at the end of the stay because it's not booked directly through them. If you book directly through them, you obviously then can start asking, can you remove resort fees and can you remove any costs on the room bill in total? I mean, we've seen people get thousands of dollars worth of comps on with a few days stay. So that's
for your first trip, you could do that. Gamble with the
set the account up, start gamble,
and then for your next trip,
rebook when you get comps.
Yeah, you will get comps. I think Caesars and MGM, you get comps pretty easily. I'd say we got comps easy in Caesars and I'll say Venetian.
MGM are going downhill.
Yeah, but you still with the resort credit and stuff it is, but you still get comp rooms.
You get comp rooms pretty easy, yeah. And there's a big choice of hotels, so you can usually find somewhere to stay. But yeah, Venetian have been good. Fontainebleau have been okay.
Venetian have been good when we went, but it's taken me. I've only just started getting comp rooms this time, and I've been going to. We've stayed at Venetian. I've stayed there. 3 times I've stayed there and I didn't get anything.
No.
Just reduced.
Well, we didn't gamble a huge amount before.
I've gambled there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not as good.
But Venetian are a lot more flexible if you go and ask the guys. Like when we went to Fontainebleau, they gave us nothing. They were just like, no, you're not having anything. And even now, I've been back. I've been doing my 3rd trip, and I've probably put through $15,000 coming in. And I'm still not getting comp rooms.
I'm not either.
I've got an offer just that came through 2 days ago with like $250 free play and $200 food and beverage, but they're still trying to charge me $100 a night midweek and $180 for the weekend and minimum 3 nights. So it's still like $800 with room fee and taxes for 3 nights. So Venetian are a lot better at that. So yeah, that's.
Can I just say something very quickly? You've missed out a question. Not there, but there's another question that someone asked and you've not answered it on there.
Which one?
The one who asked about he's going for engagement. Someone asked us a question about they're getting engaged and they want us to recommend a meal.
Oh, yes. Yes. Pause video. Yes, Emily was right. She always usually is. I apologise, Sophie, and I apologise if I'm saying your name wrong. Sophie Derlica or Delacha 1186. You did leave us a comment on one of the videos. I'll read your comment out because I have it here in front of me. But I always enjoy your honest food reviews. Thank you. We're going to Vegas again in September, and we've just got engaged. Congratulations. We're saving the celebrations for Vegas. What restaurant would you recommend for a more special, expensive meal? Well, now I've got to think on my feet because what we were going to say was Jose Andrea's Meat Bazaar. We would still say that if it's not closing. It really depends on what you mean. So there is obviously Joel Robuchon. You can do his Michelin star, I think 14, 15, 16 course tasting menu, which is about $600-700 each, excluding alcohol wine pairing. That obviously is probably the ultimate in Vegas. I would love to do that. I kind of wish I did that on my solo trip because everything I love in fine dining, lobster, caviar, truffle, mushrooms, Emily hates. She hates truffle and she hates seafood. So
I've got a deal. Next trip, you can go there on your own. I'll just go to Whataburger.
Well, I know, but it's not the same, is it? I want to
happy.
experience these places with Emily. Plus, then I get double portions. I get 24 courses. So that's obviously an amazing place. Typically for us, I'll be very honest. Probably someone else I would say is Meat Bazaar is great for the food. And the restaurant is amazing inside. The location in Sahara, I think, is a strange location. Maybe they're moving, maybe they're closing, who knows. But we typically go for steak when we're celebrating. Bavette's is good quality food, nice ambiance. Or I'd probably say SW Steakhouse. You've obviously got the fountains, high quality steakhouse, good quality food.
There's no fountains there. You mean the show, Lake of Dreams, whatever it is. SW Steakhouse in the win.
Yeah, not the fountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? What's it? Yeah, the show, what's it called?
Lake of Dreams or something?
The show thing at the
Meat Bazaar, the food, but I've got to say there's no view or anything there.
No, it's quite a dark restaurant, but it's
really
very, very nice inside. Don't get me wrong; it's fitted out really, really nicely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of options for you. Or again, you could go up to Paris, dine at the top of the Eiffel Tower. That's going to give you a nice view. It really depends what you're looking for. Whether you're looking for food, ambience, or a little bit of everything. But I mean, yeah, there's plenty of really good options in Vegas. So that brings everything together. And my final wrap up, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's watched. We've only been doing this vlogging for 6 months. I think we're up to about 1,350 subscribers, which is amazing. We never expected that. We've had literally probably over half of them come through on this series. I'm really, really shocked. Like, we honestly did not expect to be where we are now. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's commented. We get a load of comments privately on Facebook and Instagram and our social media. It is a real community in Vegas and the Vegas vlogging. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Again, I always say, if you've made it through this far, give yourself a pat on the back. Take another drink. You'll probably need it after an hour of me babbling on. We will try and condense our vlogs. I keep saying that, but they keep ending up being well over an hour. But yeah, thanks for watching. Oh no, hold on.
I know, I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, you know what you need to do now.
Trip announcements.
Well, not trip, well, say what then.
So, yeah, it's the 25th of May today. It's my birthday tomorrow, inching ever closer to the big 40. So the next trip, well, we're going to figure it out. So I've already done another trip. Literally a week after we got back from this trip, the government announced a 9-day public holiday, and Emily was working, and I was going, well, I'm sat at home. I couldn't get flights to the UK. So I went straight back to Vegas, another 16 hours. Yes, I am mad. And I did my first ever solo trip just to see what it was like. So I have that coming up, I think it's probably another 6 vlogs. They're already primed and ready, set to go. So that's coming up soon. We are also finalised for our next Vegas trip, which is going to be a 2-parter. We're heading to Cyprus for a family wedding for 4 or 5 days in a beautiful all-inclusive resort. So we'll be vlogging that. And then straight after that, we're going back over to California, Vegas via the UK Heathrow. And we'll be obviously vlogging that. It'll be a shorter trip, no national parks, nothing. Just get to LA, straight into Vegas for 8 full days in Vegas, and then back to LA, back to Dubai. And literally 2 days ago, before filming this, we finalised a trip back to the UK, back to our hometowns, Cheshire and Staffordshire, Stoke. Again, another 3-4 day trip, again for another close friend's wedding. Emily's only going back for 48 hours. I'll be back there for 4 days, so we will also vlog that. So you're going to have content coming out of your ears, or your asses. So yeah, we'll have content probably coming out every week until October, November, possibly Christmas. So yeah, good luck. Yeah, you'll be absolutely sick of our faces by then. But anyway, yeah, that's lots of stuff, good stuff coming up in the next few months. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you on our next journey. Thanks.